This bill is expected to add more than, what, $3 trillion to the U.S. debt. I mean, it is a longer-term story. So it's also put on the back burner for now, as usual.
Well, that's, of course, is spent over 10 years. I don't think necessarily that we're going to have the fiscal crisis tomorrow. I think what is going to happen is that the long end of the US bond market is going to remain much higher in this cycle than we saw during pre-COVID. Part of the bond market will price in what's called a term premium for much higher inflation, but also that you're going to have a deluge of Treasury issuance coming through now over the summer. So I think we go back to worrying again about how well the bond auctions will be covered over the next couple of quarters. And I think that's going to be an ongoing story from now on, particularly with the fact that many of the trading partners of the United States still have an undecided tariff regime. Maybe, and outside of the context of this discussion, there's been some form of an agreement with China for them to go back and resume buying treasuries, given the amount of latitude that's happened in the last 48 hours with some of the changes to the exports of critical software. My suspicion is that we may have seen another deal being done behind the scenes towards the resumption of Treasury purchases by China and other countries as well.
Marty?
Good morning. So I'm glad you raised that. So you think there's actually sort of a backdoor quid pro quo going on here, it sounds like, right? China goes, okay, look, we need this chip design software, we really do, and we need, GE jet engines because we want to make our own commercial airliner. The U.S. goes, okay, fine, but you got to go back to buying U.S. treasuries. I mean, the indirect bid from China, it's still been there, but it's been fading over the last several years. So, I mean, it makes sense to me. How do we tell whether or not this is working or not?
Well, I think what's going to be interesting is that we've just started to see with Vietnam details of the trade agreements with partners who have exports or trade as a very large component of their GDP. And to put China in that context, of course, if you add Taiwan, Japan and South Korea into that mix, that North Asia group constitute a very, very large buyers and holders of US treasuries. So from my side, I think that part of these negotiations will have to include not only discussions about the opening up of these domestic economies, but also to the extent that they will be in future purchases of long-term treasuries. We have to also recognize that not only are we going to be running very, very large fiscal deficits, but we are funding a lot of that US Treasury issuance at the short end, which is a very unstable area to be doing that type of deficit financing. And ultimately, that's going to have to be pushed out along the curve. If you have some anchor tenants, that would probably be a very nice solution. And I think that's maybe we can only find that out once we see these auctions going through. But my suspicion is that there'll be a deal done for North Asia, which includes Treasury purchases.